Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, on Nile TV International. It gives us a great pleasure and honor to have with us here on Nile TV exclusively Her Excellency Ambassador Madalena Fischer, Portugal's ambassador to Egypt. In the first exclusive interview to Nile TV International after the visit by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Portugal. Excellency Ambassador Madalena Fischer, thank you so much for joining us on Nile TV. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's also a pleasure for me to be with you today.
Thank you. Well, starting off, it was a very important and a successful visit by the President to Portugal. We saw the warm welcome. We saw leaders seeing eye to eye on very important files and emerging very successful, a visit that really boosts strategic relations between both countries, Egypt and Portugal. How do you see the outcome of the visit, Excellency?
Indeed, I think it was a very important visit. It was the first visit from an Egyptian president to Portugal since 24 years. So that's why it was really a fantastic occasion for us to receive President Sisi in Portugal. You know, this was also the first state visit that our president received in Portugal, because he just started as president in March, and this was the first state visit to Portugal, so it was a very important occasion. I think this was something that we were needing in the relation between Portugal and Egypt. We have very long and very good political relations, but we have to improve some areas, for example, on the economic field. So this visit has been a very important point to raise awareness between the Portuguese companies and to take a closer look into the opportunities that the Egyptian market offers to our companies, and to start working a little bit more on that area.
Great. Talking business, Excellency, as you've mentioned, it has been a very important visit, business-wise as well and financially. Talking about the potential that Egypt offers to the Portuguese businessmen coming and seeing for themselves. Definitely there are visits going on, continued coordination, and I'm sure that there is going to be a follow-up for the visit. Yes. So what has been like in the air? How did it go concerning their impression of the potential that Egypt offers?
Yeah. Well, we had, during the visit of the president to Portugal, we had a meeting between the president and the ministers who were with him, with some Portuguese companies, to tell them what Egypt is doing right now, the reform program that you are implementing right now, and to tell also the opportunities that there are in this important market for foreign companies. I think there was a big interest from the Portuguese companies, and next year our aim is to bring a business delegation. We are organizing now a meeting between the bilateral commission from Portugal and Egypt, not only to start to increase our cooperation on the institutional level, but also to bring some Portuguese companies to Egypt so that they can meet their partners and see what kind of opportunities there are. I think there are a lot of sectors that are very interesting for our companies to start working with the Egyptian companies. And our approach is always to say, Egypt is a very important market. It is a huge market. It has also a lot of connections, market connections with other areas, especially in Africa. And so it is also from that point of view very interesting for the Portuguese companies to come to Egypt and to start to export from Egypt to other countries. And the sectors, I think, our companies are rather medium and small companies, but with a lot of technology, with a lot of know-how, and I think that can be very interesting for companies from both countries to make partnerships and to work together, so that at the end we have a win-win situation for both countries.
It's a win-win situation, definitely, between both countries. What are the new doors, Excellency, that we started knocking, the unconventional business fields and fields that were not there before, and we are seeing those sectors quite moving.
Yes, for example, on renewables energy, we have quite a lot of expertise on wind energy, solar energy, and I think that this is an area where Egypt is doing also a lot and creating a lot of investment opportunities. So I'm sure this will be definitely one of the areas our companies are very eager to know better. But also other areas, for example, agro-food sector. We have made a very long way on the agro-foods with the modernization of our production and exports. Also ICT, for example, where you have also a very, very big potential, but also things like, for example, waste management, water management. These are areas that I think are very interesting for the Portuguese companies.
Yes. How was the visit reflected, the visit by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi reflected in Portuguese circles,
yes,
in decision-making circles and the press? What were the hitting headlines?
It was very interesting, of course, because a lot of people, know about Egypt, but this new Egypt, the modern Egypt, it was not very present in the country. So there was a very, very big interest from the press, but also from cultural side, for example, from the companies. And it was the presence of Egypt during these 2 days was very real in the Portuguese press. I think people were very eager to know more about, the political transition in Egypt, about the opportunities that you are offering, about this program now with the IMF, because these are all factors that are very important for the bilateral relations.
Yes, Excellency, we were talking about the soft power and the sense of collaboration with the Cairo Opera House, how it goes.
Yes, well, actually on the 13th of December we will have a pianist coming from Portugal and to perform at the Opera House, and we have also already established some connections between the Opera House in Cairo, which is a fantastic institution that you have here, that I very much admire, and the Opera House in Lisbon. So I hope next year we will have some more people from Portugal performing in Cairo.
Are we going to see a Cairo-Lisbon Cultural Week, for instance?
Well, that's something that we are planning. I hope so, that we will be seeing that next year.
Sure. Tell me more about business and small and medium-sized enterprises. Encouraging the youth in that respect is very important for Egypt. Also encouraging vocational training.
I think that is an area where we can do a lot. We are already in contact with some institutional from your ministry, because I think this is an area where we really can exchange also the experience that Portugal was doing in these last years on training. You have a very huge, a very young population, and training is one of the most important things you can offer to the young people. So we have already an institute who is dealing with these issues, and we are now negotiating an agreement between both countries exactly in that area.
I'm really happy that you are talking, Excellency, about engaging the youth, because it's a state policy today in Egypt. And the president is actually putting the youth in the forefront. They are the treasure of the country. Engaging the youth in decision making and giving them leadership courses and promoting their skills. Can it also happen in collaboration with their exploration of other cultures like the Portuguese?
Absolutely. That's why I think it is so important, to have this exchange of youth between both countries, because nowadays we live in a small world in a way, because everybody knows everything that is happening all the time in all the countries, and I think this is one of the most important things that you can give to the young people, to know other countries, to feel comfortable with them, to share experiences. And I think this will be one of the things I would like very much to implement next year. We have already some plans also with the Ministry of Sports and Youth to start to have these programs to exchange young people between both countries. Because also in Portugal, I think it is very important for young people to come to Egypt to see how the country is working, what kind of problems you have here, because I think this is through this personal knowledge, through these contacts, people to people, we can achieve a lot.
And that definitely brings us to the tourism field. While enhancing and boosting bilateral relations definitely includes boosting tourism between both nations. Portugal is beautiful, and it was lovely seeing, you know, the heritage site while reporters were making interviews. Those accompanying the president visit, and Egypt, as they say, has it all. So how can we have this bond to further nourish this sector, tourism sector in both nations?
I think you have it right, because Egypt is a fantastic place. Everybody knows Egypt, you know, and if you go to Portugal or everywhere in the world, everybody has a little bit the ideas sometime in their lives to come to Egypt and to see the fantastic heritage that you have here. Portugal has experienced also in these last years a boom in the tourism sector, which is running really very, very well. And I think that also is an area where we can exchange a lot of experiences between both countries. The Portuguese tourists are coming. We have no restriction for them to come to Egypt, and I'm sure now that things are more stable, people will be coming again. But we would like also to have some more tourists from Egypt coming to Portugal, because I think Portugal is also a country that makes people feel very at ease, especially if you are coming from this part of the world. I think that the feeling you have is that you are at home. We are very welcoming people, like the Egyptians, and we like all the things the Egyptians like, for example, food, football.
Yeah.
And so I think this is also a good destination for the Egyptian people to come.
Yes, and definitely the cuisine and football are attractions in themselves.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Excellency, during the visits there are always important files on the agenda to be discussed, whether politically seeing eye to eye between both leaders concerning the most pressing files in the region that are of importance to both nations, of mutual interest. What were the most important files that were discussed in that context?
Well, apart, of course, from the bilateral relations, all the hot issues, let's say, that we have in the area. Of course, for us, we are following with big concern all the issues concerning to Libya, to the situation in Libya, also in the other countries of the Middle East, but also the refugee questions. The terrorism, these are areas, of course, where we would like very much to cooperate very closely with Egypt.
Yes, and concerning illegal migration as well.
Also, of course, this is a concern for everybody, for the European countries, but also for Egypt. You are also receiving a lot of refugees and a lot of illegal migration. So I think nowadays these are the kind of issues and concerns that we have to address together, because this is the only way we can have a solution for them.
Speaking about the outcome of the visit, as Your Excellency have mentioned, and the follow-up in itself, what sort of a mechanism it is going to take in the coming phase? Will the visits continue? How about the most recent file that is going to be tackled?
Yeah, well, one of the very concrete outcomes is that both presidents agree to have, in the beginning of 2017, this meeting of the Bilateral Commission. This is very important because the Bilateral Commission offers a framework so that you know, both governments and the ministries from each side sit together and see in which areas we can make agreements and in which areas we can cooperate. This will be one of the things we would like very much to start from the beginning of 2017. At the same time, we are also organizing a visit, a business delegation to come to Egypt, so that the business people have the opportunity to come, to see with their own eyes the opportunities, and to, because, you know, like always, the politics, it's very important because it sets the frame for the work, but the business opportunities, it has to be the business people. They have to sit together and see what they can really achieve. So this is one of the things, and of course, the other thing is that President Sisi invited our president to come to Egypt, and of course, it was accepted, the invitation, so I hope sometime during next year we will have a high-profile visit to Egypt.
Yes, we're looking forward to welcome His Excellency, President of Portugal. Talking more about the media file, for instance, again, the soft power has its charm, as they say. So we talk drama, yes, why not productions? Why not more of cultural exchange visits as well, exploring the cultural dimension of both countries? What more in that file?
Well, we can do a lot, you know, on teaching languages, on literature, for example. I would like very much to have some more authors from Egypt translated to Portuguese, to have some more people from Portugal coming here and speaking about Portugal. Also on universities, I think this is a very important aspect, because not only people who want to learn Portuguese, but also other students, you know, that can come and can live in Egypt, or the other way around also, and study architecture, engineering. These are areas that are very important for the future of both countries.
Right. Excellency, you mentioned also a very important point when we talked business, and you said that the Portuguese businessmen are going to come here and see by themselves the potential that Egypt offers. And as we say, seeing is believing. It's very important that they would come and see the potential that Egypt offers. How about Portugal's contribution in the mega development projects that Egypt is witnessing?
Yes, this is exactly one of the areas we are very interested to see. And for example, the Suez Canal Economic Zone. This is a very, very interesting project. So this is going to be definitely one of the areas they will address.
And entrepreneurship, encouraging entrepreneurs,
yes, absolutely,
is definitely on the list.
Also on the list, and exactly there, I think that the small and medium enterprises are very important.
Yes,
and the
SMEs,
government,
very important.
The government has also a project and a program to help the SMEs, and that's also our experience, that this is very important to address problems like youth unemployment, for example, like employment for women. So these are very important areas for the future of both countries, and I'm sure we will have some more coordination on that.
Marketing beautiful Portugal to Egyptians. Yes, we need tourists to come, we need Egyptians to go and explore the culture, the beauty of the country. What would you tell them today?
About Portugal?
Yes.
Yes, I would say that if you go to Portugal, you find a country that has beautiful landscapes, that has fantastic food, beautiful music, and especially very, very warm, welcoming people.
How long on this mission, Excellency?
Now, 1 year, exactly.
Yeah, 1 year full of memories as
yes,
well.
absolutely, and experiences.
So, spent Ramadan in Egypt,
yes,
Eid in Egypt.
Exactly.
All have a different flavor.
Yes, but it is very interesting. It is a very interesting place to be.
Yeah. Finally, a message that you would like to direct through Nile TV International to the whole world from Egypt, the potential that Egypt offers. A headline from what you said, Excellency, that Egypt is a safe place to be. Come and explore the beauty of the country.
Absolutely. I think Egypt is a very, very nice place to be. It is a fantastic country. You have an amazing culture and especially amazing people. I think this is the best thing you can say to the world outside, is that the Egyptian people are really fantastic people, and you have to come and to know them.
Excellency, Ambassador Madalena Fischer, Portugal's ambassador to Egypt, thank you very much for joining us on Nile TV. It has been a pleasure having you and exploring with you the beauty of Portugal and more on the outcome of His Excellency, the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's visit to Portugal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was Her Excellency, Ambassador Madalena Fischer, Portugal's ambassador to Egypt, on that special interview on Nile TV International on the outcome of His Excellency, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's visit to Portugal.
Be the first to know